Hey, we're going live right here on Periscope, and we're going live on Facebook Live. How's it going, everybody? It's Friday! Whoop whoop, Friday! I'm so excited. We had such a good weekend coming up. Oh, my mom! Hi, Mom, and hi, Grandma. I know you guys are both in California, so I'm so glad that you guys are here. We're going to go over connection strategy today. So those of you that have joined us in the last 2 days, thanks so much for joining us. If you're new here, welcome. We're so excited to be talking about Instagram. Because we're creating a good plan. Yay, thanks Mom, how are you doing? We're going to go over the piece of the puzzle that a lot of people miss today, and it's the connection strategy. So a lot of you might not know what that means. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper into that in a little while, but yes, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. I know a lot of you guys shared this out, and we've had a lot of new people sign up in the past 2 days, so I'm super excited. If you do wanna share, feel free to swipe over and click the share button. You can share here on Periscope, you can share on Facebook Live, you can share to your Facebook followers. Anyone that you think might get value from this, I would really appreciate you guys sharing. I love having people here. I love people finding out about this and getting a lot of value and help. So I feel like it will just help more and more people if we share it. So thank you so much for doing that. Yay, thanks so much for Creative. So if you haven't been here for the past 2 days, we talked on day one about doing the research first, which is really important. You want to set your map out and really know where you're going. Yay, I'm so glad that you made it, Kashan. I'm so excited that you guys are here. Really setting your foundation, setting your map, making sure you know what your goals are, where you're starting from, who you're talking to, who you are as a brand or a business owner, all of those good things we talked about on day one. You can watch the replays on either Facebook Live, on my Facebook page at Rosemary Watson Productions, or you can go on Periscope and watch the replays there. They're going to be available till this broadcast is over. There's 10 days of it, and I believe it goes to the 23rd, so you'll be able to watch these until then. And yesterday we talked about creating your content strategy. So what you're sharing on your feed, your posts, that what we talked about yesterday is creating a game plan for that and what the breakdown is. So again, if you missed those broadcasts, you can still watch them again on, oops, my battery is going. You can still watch those on Rosemary Watson Productions Facebook page or Periscope, like I said. And if you haven't opted in, you can get a toolkit, which is a really handy PDF guide. It gives you a list of all my favorite tools for Instagram. It gives you a list of my favorite hashtags that I use. It gives you, what else does it give you? There's a whole bunch, a glossary. So if you don't know what I'm talking about sometimes, like when I say ideal client, when I say things like that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can get the toolkit, and it's at bit.ly/IG Intensive 2017. So go ahead and grab that so you guys can kind of follow along and know what I'm talking about. It's really helpful. So if you're new here, I'm Rosemary Watson. I run a studio called Rosemary Watson Productions. I also own a styled stock studio called the Stock Brand Subscription. And I just help women build businesses. I help them that want to level up their businesses. I help them with their branding and their marketing strategies, which is what we're doing here. We're talking about our Instagram marketing strategies. You don't have to do everything I say. You don't have to do exactly this. If you want to try other things, take bits and pieces of this and apply them to your own business, I would love for you to do that. This is just what worked for me, so I'm sharing it with everybody. We're going to dive right into content. If you do have questions, feel free to leave them, because I do rewatch these broadcasts over and I answer these questions in our Facebook group. So you'll get a link to the Facebook group when you opt in. You can totally join for free. Anyone's invited that's watching these broadcasts, and we'll put more resources and we'll do Q&As there, but still feel free to ask questions. I just want to get through the content and be respectful of everyone's time, so we'll answer the questions there just so you guys know. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about, like I said before, our connection strategy, creating a connection strategy. And what I mean about connection is reaching out to people so they know that you exist. Right? It is so saturated on Instagram. I probably should have looked up the statistics, but there's like hundreds of thousands, if not millions. There's probably millions of followers on Instagram right now. You're going to be lost in the shuffle if you don't actively go out there and try to find followers and try to find people that would be a good fit for your audience. Right? There's so many people in this world that do what you do. You have to go out there and be a friend to make a friend. Right? You have to put yourself out there. If you never go on a date, you're never going to get married. I don't care how great you look. I don't care how much time you've spent on making yourself look amazing. I don't care if you're like the most amazing woman in the world. If you never go on a date, you will never get married, and you will never go on a date if you do not put yourself out there and start meeting people, right? So you have to do the same thing in the Instagram world. You're never going to get a follower if you don't actually like go out there and start interacting with people, creating conversations, creating connections. That is your job. That is the hardest part about your job. The content strategy that we talked about yesterday, that's what most people focus on, right? It's already hard, like creating all these images, sharing them on Instagram, creating the captions, finding the hashtags. All of that sounds like a lot of work. That's not the hard part. That's not even the part that's your actual job. Your actual job is to get people interested in what you're sharing. Otherwise, you're just gonna be posting and posting and posting and have the most beautiful feed ever, and no one's gonna know. So you have to tell people. So that's why we make a plan, because without a plan, it's really easy to not do this, right? It's really easy to say, oh, I should probably just comment on people's stuff, you know, like willy-nilly, randomly while I'm like in line at the grocery store or like waiting for our food to come at dinner. It's like if you don't have a game plan, this stuff never gets done. You get busy, it's super easy to do, but it's super easy not to do. My mom always says that. There's like all kinds of stuff that's really easy to do, but it's so easy to not, right? It's so easy to get distracted. So that's why we start with a plan. I use, oh, this is my script actually, let me swap it out. I use this handy Instagram connection strategy. It was free on my blog, I shared it, but I'm gonna post it in the Facebook group, so that way it's just really easy to find it. It's gonna be in the files section of the Facebook group, so if you want to go off of this, it's just easy for me. It's just a really quick calendar. You can fill in the dates, and it has questions at the top. So remember when we did all the research on day one? That's where it also comes in handy, is at the top of this, we're gonna write down our goals. First thing we write is goals, and we have to make sure our efforts match these goals, right? If it's not our goal to grow our following, don't focus so much on this, like reaching out to new people. You wanna focus on engaging with the people that are already your followers. Does that make sense? That's where I'm at right now. So my goal last year was to hit 10,000 because as an influencer and as someone who educates people on Instagram, I wanted to have a double-digit number for my following on Instagram. Now I've hit 11.8 thousand. I'm not so concerned with finding new people. I'm more concerned with nurturing the people that I already have and turning those people into customers. That's my main goal right now. So instead of focusing on reaching out and finding new people, I'm gonna focus on finding the people that I have now and really engaging with them, really making sure they know that I care about them and wanna be present on their feed, commenting on every single person that comments on my stuff. That's my focus now. Your focus might not be that. Your focus might be you want new people. So that's what your goals are for, is to make sure you're staying focused and aligned with your efforts to your goals. The next thing is, okay, so we're gonna talk about this first before we go on to the next thing. We're gonna talk about the ways you can connect with people on Instagram. There's really 4 main ways. Number 1, you can like someone's posts. You can comment on someone's post, that's number 2. Number 3 is you can direct message them and contact them that way. And number 4 is you can actually feature them. You can do a post on your own feed and tag them, and that would be like a feature. So those are the 4 main ways: likes, comments, direct messages, and features. That's how you can communicate and connect with people on Instagram. Hey, Clemmy, go play with your stuff, okay? I'm doing this broadcast. She wanted to just say hi real quick. And she has crazy bedhead because today's pajama day at school. So everyone just went with no hair done. It's fine. So those are the 4 main ways we're gonna connect with people. You can decide what you want to do. You don't have to do all of them. You don't have to do all of them all of the time. You can just decide what is the best fit for you right now, like this week or this month. And that's what I write down next on my Instagram connection calendar. That's the next thing. So if I'm going to do likes, if I'm gonna do comments, if I'm gonna follow people, did I write down that? Follows? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so likes, follows, comments, and then DMs. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay, so yeah, sorry, there's 5 types. So you can like someone, you can comment on them, you can follow them, you can direct message them, or you can feature them. That's 5. Apparently I can't count, but that's 5 different ways. So before, I didn't really consider features as a connection, so I didn't write that down. So maybe I'll just like really quick make an edit to this and then I'll upload it to the Facebook group. But those are the 5 main ways. Write down what your goals are for this. So for you, if all you can do is handle liking stuff, just going through like a hashtag maybe and like double tapping really quick, write that down. Maybe you say, I want to like 20 people a day and just see what happens, see if my following grows. Or if you say, I want to go through and comment on every single person that comments on my post, I want to comment on theirs. I'm going to do that for 10 people every day. Write that down. Same thing with following. I'm going to try to follow 20 people a day. Write that number down, and same thing. I don't really use direct messages very much, but people do that with me all the time. I have people that if I follow them, they'll pop on direct messages and say, thanks for the follow, this is what I'm all about. If you want to learn more, here's my phone number, or here's my email, or here's my web address. And I've clicked over a couple of times. Some people I'm not interested in what they're selling. A lot of it's like maybe like direct sales or like MLM stuff. And I'm just like not there right now. But there's plenty of people that I have. They're like, you know, I sell whatever, you know, and I've clicked over. So that's definitely a way, if that's what you want to invest your time in. It's definitely a more personal connection. Obviously, it's going to be more impactful to direct message someone than it is just to click like, right? That's going to make more of an impact in someone's day, and it's probably more likely they're going to click over. But of course, for you, it's more time consuming, right? To direct message every single person. Another text came up, so hopefully you guys didn't see that. Obviously, if that's more time consuming for you and you can't handle doing that, like direct messaging everyone that follows you, you don't have to do that. But if you think that's going to be a valid strategy, write it down. Write it down on this connection strategy calendar. But make a plan to do it. Because again, it's super easy to not do this stuff. So you have to write it down. And then the hashtags to connect with. So when I go through and I find people to either double tap and like or comment on their stuff, there's two ways that I kind of look for people. I go to my accounts with aligned audiences, I go to their followers and I see who's the best fit for me. And then I'll either go and like their content, or I'll follow them, or I'll comment on it. That's one way. So finding people directly based on other people's followings. For example, it's very confusing. For example, like I said on day 1, Marie Forleo sells B-School. She does this huge program. She has thousands of people sign up. She makes millions of dollars on it. She has it once a year. And it's a big training for people for women that want to start businesses. Now, I love Marie Forleo. I think she's doing amazing things, but I think that once people go through that school, they probably need a little bit more help. They probably aren't like, you know, experts at making websites, or they don't want to be photographers. They need more help. So people that come off of B-School would be great fits for me, right? Because I can then take them and take them to the next level with the services that I offer. So I'm going to target Marie Forleo and target her people that follow her. I'm going to go and like her followers. I'm going to comment on their stuff, but I'm going to make very, very sure that they're the best fit for me, right? Because if they're not a great fit for me, then what is the point? If these people aren't going to turn into customers of yours, then don't bother, right? Having a big, huge follower number on Instagram, that doesn't matter unless these people are going to end up paying you money if you are targeting your business on Instagram. If that is the whole point that you are here, then you have to make sure these people turn into customers. So don't just follow people to follow them to get a bigger follower number. Follow them so they can then potentially be customers. Does that make sense? So that's one way. The other way is through hashtags. So you can go to hashtags that are relevant. So let's just say I have a client that sells Annie Sloan chalk paint. That's my mother-in-law's store. She sells Annie Sloan chalk paint. So when people are doing renovations, she's going to look at kitchen renovation hashtags and go through and start targeting those people, because those people are renovating their kitchens. They probably need paint, right? So you want to actually be visible in these people's lives. When their notifications come up and they see that Wood Creations Furniture liked 10 of their images and then commented on one, they're probably more likely to then click over and find out what Wood Creations is all about. Does that make sense? So the whole point of this connection strategy is to, 1, find people that would be a good fit for your business, and 2, get them to then click over to your feed, right? This is the key though. While this is the most important part, and this is the part that's gonna grow the most for you, if you don't have step 1 solid and they click over and don't like what they see, they're not gonna follow you. They're not gonna connect with your content, right? If the whole point is to get them to like your content, but if your content sucks and they don't like it, then that was all for naught, right? There was no point in doing all of that work. So you have to do step 1 to get to step 2, right? You have to have a good content strategy. They have to fall in love with you the minute they click over and click on your feed, see what you're sharing, that whole 9 grid, that very first 9 grid they see, it has to capture them right away, and they have to like it, right? Uh-oh, we turned around. Double tap. Okay, we still here? You guys good? All right, hopefully we're good. So that is the point of that. Well, this is the most work, and this is the biggest hustle. This is where you probably should be spending your time the most. This is not gonna do anything for you unless you have step 1 done, right? So you have to make sure also that your bio photo is going to be compelling, or they wanna click over. Also, your handle has to make sense. So if I'm looking to find hairstylists for my training seminars, what would I search? So you would probably search, especially local, if you're doing local training seminars, I would do like hashtag Phoenix hairstylist, or hashtag San Antonio hairstylist, or you can totally search on that, like hashtag nothing but pixies if you do a lot of, if you're trying to train people for like pixie cuts, you know, or color. There are so many hairstylist hashtags out there that you click on that hashtag and then you can start connecting with the people that are posting using those hashtags, right? And then if they like that you're commenting on everything and they go into your feed and they see that you offer something, then they're more likely to click follow, right? But you have to have your bio, you have to have your handle make sense, and you have to have those first 9 images really compelling enough for them to then follow you, because that is the point. Is it better to use personal pic for your profile picture or your logo? So use a picture for your profile picture of yourself, but it has to be good quality. It has to look like, if you're selling, especially if you're selling like business to business, right? If I'm looking for a graphic designer on Instagram because I'm a business owner and I need a graphic designer, if your bio photo is like you, like I said, you in sunglasses doing a selfie in your car, you're not even an option for me. I'm not even gonna go over to your feed to see what your work is because you've already lost me. If your handle is like Jennifer Jones 3327, because that's like your Hotmail account from like 10 years ago, you're done. I'm done with you. Like, I'm already done. You don't look professional. I'm not gonna click over if that's the point. If you're trying to look professional online, you have to present yourself right off the bat as professional. So I would totally use profile photos first, but if that doesn't look professional, if you don't have a good one and you're not willing to either hire someone to take a good one or take like 500 of yourself and pick out the best one where you look actually professional, then I would use your logo. But just make sure you look like a business. If you're in business, look like it, right? Make sure your handle, it aligns. The whole point of branding is to make sure everything aligns, to make sure everything is telling the same story. That goes for all of your photos, that goes for your logo, that goes for your color palette, that goes for the aesthetics of the place that you do business in, right? So all of it should tell the same story. The whole thing is so you don't have a mismatch. People aren't walking into your store and saying, this is not what was represented on Instagram, or that girl does not look like she belongs in this space. Right? I'm not showing up to these things wearing glitter, wearing tiaras, wearing long dresses, because look where I'm shooting. I mean, I have shiplap on the wall. I'm wearing like this. This is me. This is like the real me, right? I'm not presenting something fake on social media for then when you guys see me in real life live, you're like, that was a mismatch, right? It all should make sense. And that way you trust what I'm saying to you. You're not like, this girl is fronting. I'm actually like authentic. Right? You have to show the real you. That doesn't mean, I mean, the most polished part of the real you, but still the real you nonetheless. I'm not gonna show up here without makeup on, and my hair's not super done, but it's Friday, whatever. I figure you guys will be giving me a pass. So you can show the best like version of yourself, but still be you, right? So same thing as your profile picture. Still be you, be the most you can, but you gotta look professional. Or I'm not even clicking over, like I'm not even looking at what you're sharing because you've already lost me. Right? So lose the numbers unless your like business is numbers.
I'm done.
Okay, thanks. I'll help you in just a minute, okay? Cool, thank you, baby. So that's just all I have to say about that, right? Do the work here, but you have to make sure you're presenting yourself the best possible way when they first click over. Let me see, is there anything else I need to go over about that? Look at following, I already talked about that. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the information I had to share. Let's just go back really quick to this connection strategy. So once you know the hashtags you're gonna connect with, so like I said before, if you're a hairstylist, hashtag Phoenix hairstylist, hashtag nothing but pixies, hashtag balayage, hashtag hairstylist marketing, whatever the hashtags are that you're writing down, write them. And so that way, if you know that you're gonna be liking 50 images a day, you now have your hashtags, and then you fill this in. So I wish I had a pen, dang. I would write down all of the dates in these little boxes. I would write down what my following starts at every day, and then that way I can keep track of, is this working? Because don't do it if it's not working. If you going through liking all of these hashtags 50 a day is not changing your numbers at all, I will put this calendar in the Facebook group. It'll be under the files section. I'm gonna add one thing up here and then I will put it in there. The Facebook group is called the Instagram Collaborative. If you opted in, you will get a link to it. But that's where you can find it if you just want to search the Instagram Collaborative, and that's where all of these resources will be, and Q&As. We're going to talk about Instagress, and we're going to talk about robo-likes and other like bots. That's going to be, I believe it's day 7, when we talk about actually executing all of this engagement. We're just at the planning stage today. There's a lot to go over. Right now, we're just planning it out. We're doing the research, we're laying the foundation to actually then go do these things. right? So we'll totally talk about all of that. But yes, get this thing and then start writing down what you do. Keep track of what you want to do. So write down, my goals are 50 likes a day. Write down what you actually did. Keep track of this. Because you might think that you're doing a good job and you're like, oh yeah, I'm trying every time at breakfast. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's the link to finding the Facebook group. So it's the Instagram Collaborative. You might think you're doing a good job at this, but if you don't write it down and keep track, you'll never really know. And you'll never really know if it's actually making a difference, right? So maybe like doing 4 likes and a comment on people's stuff really works for you. But then you're like, you know, this commenting thing's taking me forever. I think I could get like 100 more likes in if I stopped commenting. So you try that strategy, but then like your change isn't going way up, then stop doing that and go back to what worked before. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter what you do, it just matters that you do something, keep track of it, and then gauge the changes. If the changes aren't doing what you want them to do, then change your approach. Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense to you. The different ways, 5 different ways. You can like someone's stuff, you can comment on someone's stuff, you can follow them, you can direct message them, or you can feature them. So you can do this in a whole bunch of different ways. Feature Fridays, shout out Saturdays. You can do, what do you call that when you, there was like an app for it where you click a button and then you just automatically share. I don't love that because it has that little bar at the bottom that says like shared, you know, I don't like that. I'd rather just screenshot someone's stuff, but always tag them, because again, that's the point, right? Is to get on their radar. You wanna get on their radar and share. So maybe you're a wedding photographer and you know a friend that has another friend that's going to be getting married and she took really beautiful, or I don't know, maybe she got her wedding dress. You screenshot that and you say like Wisconsin bride, or you just go look through Wisconsin bride hashtags and you start sharing, like maybe it's Feature Fridays, and every Feature Friday you're gonna look through that hashtag list and start featuring these brides. So now you're on their radar. If they don't have a photographer yet, you just featured them and they can now see that they were featured, look through your feed, see your work and say, oh, I totally needed a photographer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the point of this, is to get these people to find you, discover you, like you enough to follow along, and then when they're ready to buy from you, they know that you're an option. They know that you even exist in this huge wide world, right? Okay, so that is the game plan there. If you do have more questions, please ask them in the Facebook group. I'm gonna be loading up this resource there. We will be back, not Monday, but we're gonna be back on Tuesday, because Monday's a day off, my kids are home, it's literally gonna be impossible to do this. So Tuesday, we're back with day 4. What would be some great hashtags for coaches? So it depends on what kind of coach you are. If you're like a business coach, I would search different business coaches, see what hashtags they're using in their content. People like Raina Pomeroy, she's a business coach, that's great. Go to her content and see what she shares. Look for different communities that these entrepreneurs are in if you're a business coach. So savvy business owners, I would search that hashtag and try to find clients there. I would search for like entrepreneur life or handmade business or women in business. All of these like female entrepreneur hashtags, if that's your demographic, that's what you're gonna be searching. And that's why day 1 is so key, right? We spent all of that time trying to find the right hashtags for us so we can then use them in our game plan, right? So hopefully that was helpful. Keep asking those questions in the Facebook group and I will see you guys there later and on Tuesday. Bye.